Hello and welcome everybody to the Boston Blackjacks PBL Season 5 Draft Overview. So what we're going to look at today is what Pokemon I drafted, the order I drafted them in, and why I drafted them. So to start, my first pick was Mew. Now Mew is a Pokemon that, as you probably know, has very even stats, 100 across the board, and access to an enormous amount of moves. So let me just pull it up here. So let's look at its status moves. So it can learn every TM in the game, every tutor move in the game, which across 7 generations of Pokemon gives it a vast amount of moves. Calm Mind, Bulk Up, Curse, Heal Bell, Hypnosis, Nasty Plot, Nightmare, Quash, all the important moves like Quash. Gotta have Quash. Recycle. So many moves, and I just feel it's an invaluable Pokemon and definitely worth my tier 1 pick. Especially with what I had in mind for my Mega pick, which was Altaria, but I'll get to that. So Mew is a Pokemon I haven't used in leagues before. I've seen it used to phenomenal use, and I feel like I helped Prophylaxis Steven make his way to win a second championship in the PBL Season 4. He was the winner, and I very often helped him build his Mew sets. And I just feel like Mew's way too good to let pass up. I really wanted to use it for myself. It can do absolutely anything, and that's what makes it so amazing, and I feel like that's why it's a Pokemon for me, because I love versatility in my Pokemon. So my next pick was my Mega, and that was Mega Altaria. So the PBL allows baton passing, any stat but speed, and you can pass multiple stats, as long as speed's not in there, of course. So I felt like with Mew, having access to so many moves like Calm Mind and Nasty Plot, that would be a great combination with Altaria, which can Dragon Dance, but it also gets access to Hyper Voice for its Pixelate boost, Flamethrower, Fire Blast, things that can help it beat Steel types if you want to break them down on the special end, as well as Cotton Guard, which if Mew gets a few Calm Minds off and passes to Altaria, Altaria gets up a Cotton Guard. It's a beast. Look at these stats: 110, 110, 110, 105, a low 75 HP, but a decent speed and an incredible defensive typing. I feel like Altaria is a force to be reckoned with. Last season I had Mega Gyarados, which is another Dragonite sweeper. Hits less hard, I believe a bit more bulky actually, 1 point faster, and with another interesting typing on the offensive spectrum. But it's not as self-sufficient. It can't recover. It's really held back by that. It can't get rid of any status, so if it gets burned, it's done for. Altaria gets Heal Bell. Altaria gets... No, it doesn't. It gets Roost. Does it get Wish? No, it doesn't get Wish. But it can run all these different moves and run them to success. Oh yeah, Draco Meteor is another special move it can run. Or Dragon Pulse. It just doesn't have a way of boosting that special stat, which is what I'm trying to get at. Oh, it gets Moonblast? Oh, because they gave it Moonblast, that's interesting. Well, if I ever need to face down Kobo, that's what I'm going to use. Anything else to mention about Altaria? I mean, it also has great defensive synergy with Mew, resisting that Dark type. That's about it. My next pick was Infernape. So, Infernape, as you can see its stats here, you might think, oh, Infernape's kind of lacking if you've never used an Infernape, but let me tell you something. Infernape gets Swords Dance. Infernape gets... Actually, Work Up could be cool to dual sweep. Nasty Plot. It gets Bulk Up. Now let's say you want to run a defensive set. You got your Will-O-Wisp. You got your Slack Off. You can recover. Isn't that cool? I think it's cool. With the ability Iron Fist at its disposal to run moves like Fire Punch. Wow. Mach Punch. Wow. Thunder Punch. Wow. Power-Up Punch, Focus Punch. It gets Calm Mind? Oh my god, that's so cool. It has access to so many moves that it needs to sweep. And with 108 speed, that's just beating out 100s, 105s. In the game I just played, it would outspeed Blacephalon, which has 107 speed. And it's just another potent sweeper that can really handle what it needs to do. Get Stealth Rock if I need to run a Suicide lead, as well as Fake Out just to get some chip damage off. So Infernape I felt like was another great pick for a sweeper, and I really wanted one, especially one that can pair well with Altaria, because Altaria obviously doesn't deal well with Steel types. Yeah, that's the only thing it really doesn't like. Infernape kind of covers that. And I just felt Infernape's another Pokemon that can run so many moves. Why not pick it up and really see what it can do? The next up was Ferrothorn. So, in my previous seasons of playing draft leagues, I've always noticed a common theme with my teams. My Steel type sucks. Ferrothorn doesn't suck. Ferrothorn gets its job done. First of all, high defenses, good typing. I mean, quad weak to fire sucks, but again, I have 2 water types, Infernape, Altaria, Mew, which can tank anything, Regirock. I had a draft plan that allowed me to mitigate that. And this is a real Steel type. I mean, it doesn't wall out flying types, but whatever. It does what I need it to do. It has access to Stealth Rock, it has access to Spikes, it has an almost always base 150 power move in Gyro Ball. Power Whip, it gets so many... It doesn't get that many moves, I'll take that back. But it gets all the moves it needs to get the job done. Thunder Wave if I need it. It can really get its work done. Get up rocks, get out, wall something, who cares? And I really wanted a strong Steel type, that's why I picked up Ferrothorn. Also a great Grass type, and I like the combination together. So next up was Crocodile. I said, alright, Crocodile has Intimidate. That's, I feel, one of the best abilities in the game, always. Has a really interesting offensive typing. Solid Speed, another Pokemon that can set up Stealth Rocks. Dragon Tail to Phase. It's kind of a one-trick pony. It does actually have a lot more moves than you'd expect. But its main role is Knock Off, Intimidate, or something like a Scarf Moxie Sweep. What it needs to do, it gets done. And that's why I chose Crocodile. Power Trip is a move I've wanted to look into. I think it's 20 plus 20 for each stat boost. Yeah. So that's not that strong unless I get up like 60 bulk ups. But in most cases, Knockoff's going to be better. My next draft pick was Gyarados. Reason for that was another Intimidate Pokemon. I think Intimidate's fantastic. I think it's one of the best abilities in the game. I had Mega Gyarados last season. Why not use regular Gyarados this season? Being able to not be... I think Gyarados' typing, Water Flying, is a bit better than Water Dark in terms of setting up. Because you have an immunity, you aren't weak to Grass, you're quad weak to Electric, but you have a team that can handle that. You have all these Pokemon that can handle that. So I wasn't too worried. Ability to run that Z move, Intimidate and Moxie are always kept. And I wasn't feeling like I had to bring it every week like I did with my Mega. That's the reason I got Gyarados. Another Intimidator, bulky Water type, always good. Next on the list, Regirock. Regirock is one of my favorite Pokemon. It's by far my favorite Regi. And I really love this Pokemon. Base 200 defense. Okay. I don't even need to invest in this, ever. Base 80 HP, that's decent. Base 100 special defense, that's decent. Base 100 attack, fine. That's just good enough to get by. Why is that? Another Pokemon that can set up Stealth Rock. Another Pokemon that just does what it needs to do. And the main reason I picked it up was a flying immunity. Or not immunity. Resist. There is no flying immunity. As you can see, my team has none. Most teams won't. The only things that resist flying are Electric, which are few and far between in terms of good Pokemon, not to mention ones that are bulky and can actually take 2 flying moves. My Ferrothorn is a Steel type, mixed with Grass, so it doesn't actually resist. My Electric type is part Bug, so that doesn't actually resist. I mean, I didn't plan for that, we'll go over that. But I feel like Flying Resists are extremely important. Flying Spam can be devastating. It's one of the best offensive types, undoubtedly. That's why Mega Pinsir's so good. That's why, part of the reason why Mega Salamence got banned. It's incredible. And the only thing that can block that out is Rock types, really. Yeah, they're going to be weak to ground, but what the hell is Regirock weak to on the defensive end of things? I mean, I'm just going to pump this up for the fun of it. 548. Yeah, nothing's getting by this. It doesn't have access to recovery, which is kind of a bummer. But again, it has all the moves it needs. Thunder Wave, Rock Slide, Stealth Rock if I want to run Rest, if I want to run Curse. I can run Curse if I want to and just max out my special defense and still be a beast. This Pokemon has all it needs. It has Drain Punch if it wants to recover. If I don't want to invest, I just run a little Seismic Toss. Whatever. Regirock's awesome. And I felt like I needed a bit more defense in my life to help out Altaria and Infernape and Gyarados Sweep. So yeah, that's the reason for Regirock. Big wall. Next up was Vikavolt. Now, this is a Tier 4 Electric type, as you can see here. Originally, I wanted Electivire. That got sniped for me. And that was upsetting. So I was talking with Kyle, I'll call him my co-coach. Assistant coach, if you will. And at that point, the only things that were left in terms of things I could take in tiers, I had a Tier 3 open, which was Vaporeon, a Tier 5, or a Tier 4. So let's look at all of the Pokemon. Where are all the Pokemon? There's transfers. That's not it. I mean, I guess I'll just go here for now. No, I won't. So let's see if there are any Electric types remaining here. Tier 3. Okay. We're gonna do this a janky way. Sorry this takes so long to load, oh my goodness. You had Galvantula, which was taken very early. I see no other Electric types here. Zapdos is Tier 1. Like, what is this? There are just so few Electric types. Jolteon, which I feel just cannot do its job. Alolan Raichu, which I almost picked up, but I think that got sniped from me. I also didn't want another Psychic, because I had Mew, and that was kind of my main Psychic type. Oh, here's some more. Also no Electric type. Rotom was interesting, but I don't think it gets the job done. Basically, I was between a rock and a hard place with the Electric types. And I was considering either Electros or Vikavolt, both in that tier. Now, most people think Electros has a great moveset, which it does, but I feel like it just has very, very underwhelming stats. And while it may be able to tank things and do some damage, I feel like all it's doing is chip. I think Vikavolt can actually do damage. If you look at it, yeah, it has kind of underwhelming stats. You have no real attack. Mediocre defenses with 77, 90, 75, which can take some things. Really crippling speed of 43, but that 145 special attack, that is as much special attack as Landorus Therian has attack. That's immense. Being able to slow Volt Switch with something like Vikavolt is impressive. It does so much damage, and I mean, I don't really need that much speed on my team. I have Dragonite Sweeper, base 100 that can set up sweep. Great Scarfer. 108 base speed, also another great Scarfer. Dragonizer. All my I have a fast Pokemon at 108. Yeah, not the fastest. Mew. But all of them are fast setup sweepers, and that's what my team revolves around. That's my playstyle. I love setting up and going crazy. Vikavolt, it slows things down a bit. It also gets agility, which can make it outspeed everything, and then it goes crazy. It also is immune to ground, which I needed on my team. We had no ground resist, no ground resist, no ground resist, no ground resist, ground weak, ground immunity, and let's grab another ground immunity. Vikavolt also gives me a bug type. If I want to earn U-turn on it, I can. If I want to bug buzz with it, I can. Great Z user. All around, I think Vikavolt was a great pickup. Not my first choice electric type. I really wanted Electivire. I love that Mon. But we settled for Vikavolt. Next, we picked Vaporeon in round 9, and Vaporeon is great at what it does. It can Wish with 130 base HP and get that off to anything it wants to. It can Heal Bell, it can Scald, it can Toxic. It pretty much only has a few rolls. And, I mean, I like that. I wanted a bulky water type to kind of, not assist Gyarados, but be the counterpoint to Gyarados, where it's more defensive, as Gyarados is more offensive. And, I mean, Gyarados is only offensive, pretty much. You can't run a defensive set with Gyarados, in my opinion. It doesn't have recovery. That's the biggest issue. Vaporeon filled its role well of being able to Cleric for the team. And my next pick ended up being Quagsire, because the draft went a little screwy. I wanted a Poison type for another Fairy Resist, because my only one is Ferrothorn. And Fairy type is really, really, really good. And obviously I have Resists like Mew, or things that can take it like Mew. Gyarados may be able to take a hit. But overall, nothing that wanted to take the Fairy hit. And I couldn't figure out a Poison type. I was on the fence of Muck and Weezing, and I just didn't feel like they fit the role of the team well. And that's when I had an idea. I said, okay, let's pick up one remaining member of Boston Blackjacks of Season 4. And that was Quagsire. And Quagsire shines as an unaware Pokemon. As in, it has no idea what's going on. No. Its ability is unaware, which, if you're unfamiliar, makes it so any stat boosts that are, or stat drops that are affecting it, or any stat boosts that are affecting the opponent, are completely ignored. So let's say Quagsire has -6 defense. It doesn't know that. What if that Gyarados just got to +4 attack? Quagsire doesn't know that. He's just chilling out. And then he Scald Burns you or Toxics you, and he has access to recover. That's great. So Quagsire does what it needs to do in order to stop setup Pokemon from being so potent. And that's the reason I grabbed it again. And with that, I had 3 water types, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. Water types are fantastic. But I really didn't feel the need to have Vaporeon anymore. So I had Quagsire, I had Gyarados, I had Vaporeon. And at that point I said, okay, Vaporeon, you gotta go. You're not aiding with speed. I mean, you're a Cleric, but Mew can kind of do that. Altaria can do that if it needs to. I don't really need a Wish Passer. Everything's pretty much set. Recovery, Leak Seed, Sweeper, who cares? Who cares? Recovery if it needs it. Shouldn't need to recover, because at that point it should be winning the game. Recovery, Vikavolt, which doesn't want to switch into things. So I decided to drop Vaporeon. Obviously I have to keep it for week 1, just because I drafted it. But for week 2, this will become Crobat, and I'm actually going to make that change right now in front of your faces. Hey, heads up. Yeah, I know. Crobat is the new Pokemon here. And let me pull up its stats real quick. So the reason for Crobat: needed something fast, needed a Poison type. Look at my team for removing hazards. I have Altaria, which can defog, but it doesn't want to because it's offensive generally, in my opinion. Mew. And, oh, nothing else on my team can clear hazards. So, I said, Crobat, you're the man for me. So, Crobat, with its 85 HP, 90 attack, 80 defense, 70 special defense, 80 special defense, 70 special attack, sorry, and 130 speed, which is unparalleled. And by that I mean some Pokemon have it, but 130 is a really high speed to hit. So Crobat has a few roles. Defog, Taunt, Toxic. It can run that kind of set. Obviously has access to Roost. Or, it can be a Nasty Plot Sweeper with a Z move. An Infiltrator, which allows me to get by Sub and Reflect and Light Screen and Safeguard. So if I can Nasty Plot, I can get off an Air Slash, a Giga Drain, I think it gets Heat Wave, Sludge Wave, or Sludge Bomb. So another sweeper, this time special, because most sweepers generally are physical. Infernape is mixed, which is awesome. That's another reason I love it. But yeah, no Crobat's on the team. Goodbye, Vaporeon. I no longer need you. Sorry that I didn't even use you in Week 1, but you were good moral support, and I stopped someone else from having Vaporeon. So that's cool. Anyways, the last and final pick of the team was Gourgeist. And you may be wondering, Jake, you already had a grass type. Yeah, no, Ferrothorn's not really a grass type, in my opinion. What's one of the main resists that grass types have that's super important for spammable moves? Say it with me, everybody. Ground type. So Gourgeist fills that role. And what's another Pokemon type that's really important for, blocking the opponent from using Rapid Spin or preventing fighting types from sweeping? You can say it again this time. Ghost type. Gourgeist does both of those things. It has access to reliable recovery and synthesis. It has Leech Seed. It has Will-O-Wisp to hinder the opponent and burn it on the spot and say, hey, I don't want you attacking me anymore. And it just has a perfect kit for what it needs. Let me go into some of its moves. Another great thing about Gourgeist is that it actually has 4 forms, with all different varying HPs, attacks, and speeds. The defense is always 122, special attack is always 58, and special defense is always 75. So, a lot of people don't know this, but it actually gets access to Fire Blast and Flamethrower, which aren't important, because of that measly 58 special attack. It also gets Flame Charge, though, which I always think is interesting. So, Frisk is a great ability in leagues. It allows you to say, hey, I want to know your item, but I don't want to have to play footsies with you and figure it out the hard way. And Gourgeist comes in and he says, hey buddy, I just want to know your item, and then it'll show it. And its shiny form looks awesome. But anyways, jokes aside, status. Destiny Bond, Leech Seed, Light Screen, Pain Split, a bunch of really cool moves. Trick or Treat, if I want to make them a ghost type, because that's important. Worry Seed to take their ability out. Disable. It has a lot of cool moves. Physical moves now. It has access to Foul Play, which is awesome. Priority Shadow Sneak. Rock Slide, that's pretty cool. Gyro Ball, which I won't be using that much, I'm sure. Seed Bomb, and Bullet Seed are the main ones that you're going to use. Phantom Force is also kind of decent. It is a 2-turn move, but it can kind of force a switch. And I think that it's a pretty good move. The one I'll probably be using the most is Gourgeist Super, because it is a wall. So I'm going to want the most HP, don't really care about the speed, and more attack always felt good. So that's the team. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them below about why I chose any Pokemon. Let's get rid of Vaporeon while I can. I didn't want to reveal too many strategies of my team, but I feel like I've revealed a few of them. But yeah, here's the team again. Mega Altaria, Mew, Ferrothorn, Crocodile, Newly Crobat, Regirock, Quagsire, Infernape, Gyarados, Vikavolt, and Gourgeist. I think this is probably going to be the team for the rest of the season, unless I'm able to make some trades and somehow get an Electivire on the team. I'm very happy with this team, very confident, and these are your Boston Blackjacks for PBL Season 5. Thanks for watching, everybody. Stay tuned for the rest of the season. Bye-bye.